Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Hope you all are well. Can you please in the chat just state your business name and what it's about? Like one sentence. Dina, no, you don't have to put on your cameras. You can if you wish, but you don't have to. Good morning, Nicole, Janice, Sita Bridgman. I'm not seen any business names just yet. You guys have a business already? Are you interested in starting a business? Okay, so from Green Poly, is in oh, is name of my business and it's plastic recycling. Excellent. Okay, Amor Facilities Management Co. And it's a consultancy in facilities management and janitorial services. Cool. Radix Homework and Learning Center. All right. Let's see now. Cool. So let's go. All right, guys. I think participation is the name of the game, right? So at any time, chat, raise your hand. All right. Okay, I see some more stuff. From Russia, Sustainable Earth Farms and Distributors, Natural Farm, Social Enterprise, Startup Lovely, Cindy George, Jada's Organic Products, and Janelle's Whipped Up Treats, Full Catering and Tutoring. Nice. Very cool. Donnell Maraj, Mood Candle Soap Supply City, a local raw material supplier for handmade products. All right, good stuff. Right. Give me a couple seconds for anybody else, but that's it. All right, great. Oh, somebody else says Seba Studio, social media management, writing, and editing. Very cool. Let's see now. All right, so guys, welcome to the Small Business Workshop series. This is the Entrepreneurship Hub. All right, you can find us at ehubtt.org. It's a collaboration with the US Embassy. They are seeking to make improvements in the security of Trinidad and Tobago through entrepreneurship, right? And that's how the hub was initially founded, together with some collaborators, some of the persons who went through some of their programs. All right, well, that's pretty much that. That's our vision. We want to just essentially make things a lot easier for doing business here in Trinidad. So in other words, essentially, actually I'll read it out. The Ehub will promote collaboration, consensus building, and shared knowledge of the best business practices, and collectively will foster a vibrant and sustainable entrepreneurial ecosystem by promoting the ease of doing business to all entrepreneurial stakeholders in the region. So in other words, to simplify, a chamber for micro entrepreneurs. So an example of something that we want to do, well, we want to be able to say that the Entrepreneurship Hub, over 1,000 members strong, supported by the US Embassy, local, regional, foreign chambers of commerce, and regional corporations, collaborate with the banks of Trinidad and Tobago to ensure access to banking and finance is as least restrictive as possible. And all major banks in TNT agreed to adopt the processes set out in the guidelines to open a bank account in TNT document. And this document will feature the worldwide best practice of opening bank accounts for entrepreneurs and ensures that the process is universal and easy. Right, so we have learned that one of the issues with entrepreneurs is access, especially micro entrepreneurs, access to finance, and individually it might be difficult to engage with these banks, but collectively we could and make life a little bit easier for us all. And we have been in the process of doing that through workshops. We have been able to get the bankers to speak to us, to understand their perspective a lot more, what they're looking for, right? And hence, see some of the gaps. Happy to note that we are working with Republic Bank to host another session, because this session was very, very, very informative. All entrepreneurs will say they never understood the perspective of that. The only time that they encountered a banker was when they went to the teller to ask something, and that engagement is typically less than 10 minutes. But we sat down here for 2 hours and understand what it takes to really get a loan or finance from a bank. It's not impossible, but there are some things that you really ought to know. Right, so the goals of Ehub is to leverage local and foreign resources, work alongside key stakeholders in the landscape, encourage collaboration, and help entrepreneurs better understand the resources available to them. There are lots of resources available, but we just don't know all of them. But if it is that we can easily connect the entrepreneurs, you guys, to these resources, we will be in a better place. Right, and offer an opportunity to network and improve member engagement. Right, so yes, it's just some of the resources we met so far: corporation, chamber of commerce, the embassy, of course, scholars, the diaspora, mental wellness experts, Export TT, NETCO, AmCham, banks, and other entrepreneurs. All right, so some of these things we did: mapping the social entrepreneurial landscape, understanding where we are. The Academy of Women Entrepreneurs, facilitated by the Ehub as well. Financial literacy workshop. This is one of our founders, Dr. Joanne Flett, who came back in to teach financial literacy and really help us understand some of the challenges or opportunities with respect to micro entrepreneurs. Right, and I will ask, we need your voice to be counted along with us. When we sit down and speak to NETCO, AmCham, YBTT, the embassy, anyone in the entrepreneurial landscape, we need to be able to say, we have checked in with these 1,000 entrepreneurs, and we have identified this as a challenge, and we think this is a solution. So we put our voice to them and help them craft their programs and policies to better help us. Cool. So this is Small Business Workshop series. We have done 7 so far. This is the 8th. And it's about fundamentals of climate smart entrepreneurship. So I'm very happy to see people caring about these things. I will tell you it's important because persons like USAID and Embassy and everyone giving grant funds really are keen on seeing how your enterprise positively impacts the climate. And now we have as a guest speaker Ryan Asu. He's a climate finance specialist with the USAID Eastern and Southern Caribbean. So we're really lucky to have him. He's also a director for Advisors Next Door and a director for Sustainability Institute of Trinidad and Tobago. All right, and hopefully we have Shan Coffee Young as well. He's also a founder for CL Environmental Services and a waste consultant, educator, and trainer. and author of Kai's Magical Adventures, When the Garbage Goes. Right. So the format of the session will be, well, I'll take you all to this link, which is online resources that was made available to the persons who went on this program called Wildlife, but I've made it available to us. And you could go to that link anytime and you see a number of wonderful resources for you, free of charge for now, right? While it's available. And you could go in and say, ooh, I need to better manage my personal finances, or I need to be more responsible. I want to know about grant writing. All right. And you could go in here and tackle these things or take in these information. And of course, we have the fundamentals of climate smart entrepreneurship. All right. So, and we begin. All right. Let's see. Ryan, do you want to say anything beforehand? Say hello.
Hi, Sam. Thank you so much. I just wanted to
I'm
say
not
thank you
hearing
for
you.
having me, everyone. I'm really happy to be here and spend this time with you this morning. Looking forward to a rich and wonderful conversation.
Awesome. Yes, thank you, thank you. All right, so let's begin. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Are you guys hearing?
Yes, loud and clear.
Nice, nice, nice. No problem. Okay.
In this unprecedented time of climate crisis, we are challenged with the task to fix the blue economy by healing the ocean and its inhabitants, and to solve the green economy by saving the planet, its natural resources, and those who inhabit it. Technology-based solutions help global industries contribute to the blue and green economy by saving precious water and other natural resources, reducing toxic waste, and diverting complex waste from landfills, waterways, and incineration. Welcome to Fundamentals of Climate Smart Entrepreneurship. This course will provide entrepreneurs with recommendations for planning, implementing, and running sustainable climate-smart businesses. Those businesses responsibly manage natural resources, reduce their negative contributions to the climate crisis, respect indigenous lands and ways of life, and are profitable. This lesson is a path to sustainable entrepreneurship. In this lesson, we will review the ways entrepreneurs can begin to think about adopting climate-friendly business practices. We will examine entrepreneurial opportunities for climate-friendly businesses, and we will look at ways that entrepreneurs can leverage relationships to foster innovation and collaboration. This lesson was written by Stephanie Benedetto, the CEO and co-founder of Queen of Rawle, an enterprise solution for intelligent excess inventory management. She is also a founding member of the New York Circular City Initiative, where she advocates for sustainability and women in business. So how do you get started? At Queen of Rawle, Benedetto and her team took their passion to reduce the world's waste problem and concentrated on finding a business model that supported people, planet, and profit. Doing the right thing is often easier said than done, says Benedetto. Businesses and consumers have been conditioned to think that adopting sustainable practices is cost prohibitive, but that is not always the case. Allowing large companies to see a financial win will often persuade them to embrace new, sustainable solutions. When focusing on, for example, a business's waste and unused inventory, companies can sell it, recoup losses, and make money, That unexpected revenue can go back into doing things within their value chain without adding to their capital expenditure. With the increase in revenue streams, businesses can purchase more sustainable materials, manufacture domestically, invest in innovative technologies, create jobs, pay workers more, and increase productivity. It's a win for social equality, for the environment, and of course, for the bottom line. Creating solutions for businesses in your communities to aid them in being more climate smart is an opportunity for entrepreneurs. Climate smart entrepreneurship is about building solutions that make sense for people, planet, and profit. And Benedetto wants to encourage everyone across global industries to participate and do their part to create change. If everyone adapts small, sustainable business practices, the outcome will have a massive impact on our world. Part of the entrepreneurial journey is to help build the supply chain of the future, one that is more on demand, more local, more equitable, and of course, more sustainable. As climate change threatens human health, food and water security, and socioeconomic development, what efforts can you undertake today? Here are 3 solutions to change the world by first looking at what you can do close to home. Produce food and products locally. Using sustainably sourced materials from the surrounding area can produce higher quality and more durable goods. It also reduces the time, costs, and carbon emissions of shipping products from one place to another. Create wealth from waste. Concepts like a circular economy and upcycling have become very popular recently. In our current economy, we take materials from the earth, make products from them, and eventually throw them away as waste. This process is linear. In a true circular economy, by contrast, we stop waste from being produced in the first place because materials are reused, refurbished, remanufactured, or recycled. The objectives of a circular economy are to eliminate waste and pollution, circulate products and materials at their highest value, and regenerate nature. An example of the circular economy in action is Connect the Dots, an initiative by the City of Sao Paulo that supports local farmers through technical assistance and capacity building, allowing them to increase their revenue, protect vital watershed areas, and encourage entrepreneurs to start businesses that support farmers' participation in the value chain. As reported by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, Connect the Dots is creating a circular economy for food by supporting local farmers as they transition to regenerative practices, farming that works with nature. This results in the production of high-quality local food that builds soil health, promotes biodiversity, helps to tackle climate change, and reduces farmers' reliance on synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. According to the foundation, 160 farmers are involved in the project, converting from conventional to organic or regenerative practices. Implement the sharing economy. You can also establish platforms for sharing products with your community. Some items do not need to be owned or even purchased new by every household. Use what your neighbor has, and in return, offer what you have to others. Years ago, when Benedetto launched the Queen of Raw Deadstock marketplace, she approached businesses with the opportunity to sell their waste and dead stock. Dead stock refers to products that are not selling and are no longer in production, but remain in inventory. At the time, their business proposition was seen as a nice-to-have instead of a have-to-have. The conversations usually began with the sustainability departments. Although they immediately saw the value in Queen of Raw's business model and were truly their brand champions, they often lacked the budget to take on new and what was seen as disruptive initiatives. Additionally, those positions didn't always have a clear line into the entire value chain and how the business was run. This eventually worked in Queen of Raw's favor, as it gave the team the impetus to create a supply chain technology that unites all departments so they can more effectively take action and achieve sustainability goals. Bringing about meaningful change within an organization requires the buy-in of senior company executives or C-suite executives. Chief marketing officers are tasked with creating comprehensive storytelling around the good, sustainable work they are doing, while the chief information officers, chief technology officers, and chief operating officers are responsible for managing the day-to-day supply chain operations and technology. The chief executive officers set the corporate agenda. Entrepreneurs are uniquely positioned to know what their community needs and wants. Entrepreneurs can develop innovative solutions that are resilient and can also help mitigate and adapt to climate change across industries and around the world. By identifying challenges, developing new businesses, and creating innovative ways to reimagine production and supply chain processes, entrepreneurs have a vital role to play in tackling the climate crisis. For more on this course and to access related resources, visit our website.
All right, that was great for me, but let's hear from you guys. If you have any questions, start pulling them. You can ask them in the chat. And at this point, I would love to hear from Ryan to see in his perspective of Trinidad and Tobago. Is what the video really said, does it make sense?
Hey, Shem, so thanks for that. And yes, of course, in the context of Trinidad and Tobago, the video puts out a lot of useful information, a lot of useful principles and ways of doing business that align with us. When we think about Trinidad and Tobago and green business, I guess, which is also the topic of, I think, the next video coming up, I think we should all be reminded that Trinidad and Tobago has a national environmental policy that was brought into effect in 2018. And there's an entire theme of that policy called Evolving a Green Economy. It's very focused on these same sort of thoughts. How do we become more circular? How do we reduce waste? How do we add value while supporting the environment and the communities that we live and operate in? So it is very relevant. It's policy relevant for the country, and the information there is very good. I see Siobhan has her hand up.
Hi, good morning, Brian. Thank you so much to everyone again. A pleasant good morning. This actually topic is very specific to my area of expertise. Now, I am trained as a water and waste engineer. I've worked within the Solid Waste Management Company Limited for some time, as well as WASA. So when you're talking about circular economy and waste, and then you come to Trinidad and Tobago, you're definitely walking up my alley. I'm also a business owner. I have not reached to the point of entrepreneur. I would not deceive anyone, because through the video, they talked about a CEO, a CFO, a COO. My business isn't at that level to have that camaraderie of experts as yet. So I'm chief cook and bottle washer at the moment. Right, but in terms of the circular economy, you may find that with food to some extent, with regards to what the video spoke about with the farming, but with Trinidad and Tobago, we have an environmental policy, yes, but it's on paper. The implementation, the enforcement, and the legislative framework to support it, it is grossly lacking. So it can pose a problem for entrepreneurs in our climate. So I do natural bath and body products. I use recycled cardboard boxes, material to make my boxes package my soaps. And cardboard is one of those recyclable materials that is very fluid, and it has a good trajectory in Trinidad. So that's a good thing. But when it comes to plastics, we do not have anyone recycling plastics in Trinidad and Tobago. Our plastics are collected, the very few plastics, let me just say that, the HDP and the PET that can be recycled and the PP, those actually go out to recyclers or are sold to intermediaries outside of Trinidad. So that really does not foster a circular economy when we don't have a manufacturer producing a product with plastics. And that's where we need to get to when we look at a circular economy in business. What is the waste being generated out of these various entrepreneurial activities? And therefore, what are the downstream recycling facilities to uptake it and therefore produce another product? If it is a business owner is to do that, it's very costly, and you are grappling with trying to grow your business or even establish a market or sustain your market. So that aspect tends to fall by the wayside in Trinidad.
Thanks, Siobhan. Could you respond? But I'll see other person's hands up. Ryan, if you want to respond to her directly, go ahead. And then I see Green Polly.
So I just want to second some of the things that Siobhan has said, and I want to add to that as well. So I do agree that as with everything in Trinidad and Tobago, we do have laws and policies in place, and as you're rightly saying, enforcement is usually a challenge for some of these things. But I also want to say and highlight that there are also a lot of support mechanisms outside of the government. So when we think about policy and law, we're really thinking about government enforcement, right? But outside of the government, there is a lot of opportunity for green entrepreneurship and these types of avenues. One of them that is worth looking into if we haven't already explored it is the Natural Capital Hub with Ansel Merchant Bank. So the Natural Capital Hub, it is a membership that anyone can join as an individual or a business. And it really focuses on how businesses can integrate what they call natural capital, but it's really nature considerations into their decision making. And why that's important as a community is because not only do they share best practices and have knowledge exchange between businesses within Trinidad and the wider region, but the Natural Capital Hub also puts out events, including grant funding events or grant competitions. So we recently concluded one. I was a judge in the final panel for the Trinidad Natural Capital Hub Entrepreneurship Competition, where different businesses, we had about almost 70 applicants from Trinidad, submit their companies, the work that they do, how their work, is involved with circularity, does all these different things. And it was a wide range of things from farming to recycling to all these different sort of stuff. And then the winners would have received cash prizes, $100,000, right, coming out of that. And we're getting set to launch another one of those competitions in Barbados, focusing on the blue economy, which will be the topic of another video this morning, I'm sure. So there's some private sector opportunities as well. We don't have to just depend on government policy or government laws to try to push things along that way. And then in terms of recycling, so in my history of work in Trinidad and Tobago, so apart from being the author of the 2018 National Environmental Policy, I would have also been the first project coordinator for iCare, which is a national recycling program. So I'm also dialed into recycling a bit. And you're right, we don't have commercial scale recycling in Trinidad at this point in time. However, through the IDB, IDB has invested or has given a grant to this group. The name is eluding me right now. Every bottle back. And they will be establishing a recycling facility here with the machines to do the domestic recycling here in Trinidad as well. Because as you rightly say, right now a lot of our things are stockpiled and exported to other markets where the recycling can happen. But between Every Bottle Back and another NGO called Flying Tree Environmental, there's a lot of work happening on the ground to get us to that point of having proper recycling facilities that cover all types of plastic. But I'll pause there because I see Green Polly has their hand up as well, so I don't want to keep the monopolize the time. So I'll pass over to Green.
Green Polly? Oh, Martina?
Hi, pleasant good morning. So I am not an engineer, but I'm a young business owner. And it mightn't be much, but in my direction of business where we manufacture bags, we started a project through the government, recycling banners into bags. right? Making gym bags out of banners, carnival time and during election time, there's a high peak in banner accessibility. And right thereafter, very high. Lots everywhere you could think of have banners and different colors, different finishes, and we make them small, cut them up, upcycle them, recycle them, and put them back out in the market. And it's a profitable business. So it might not be commercial scale in terms of big band and exporting at this time, but it works for us as one segment of our business structure. So I think we probably fall in a category of part of the process, but I don't know. That's just me. Because she said nobody is really, but we are. So I don't know. That might come for something for us.
Thanks, Melina. I love that you are, right? And of course, the goal is for more of us to do more of what you're doing, right? Incorporating it, and as well as for us to scale to eventually be that profitable kind of thing. I actually had a chance to create a video with Flying Tree. I could show you guys. It's just a minute, so I guess I'll start to show you later, but since you all brought them up already, just share it one time. So this, and I'll kind of, it incorporates a partnership between Nutrient and Flying Tree. So I'll show it to you and then I'll say my thoughts after.
We're thrilled to be working with Flying Tree Environmental Management, witnessing the impactful work they're doing in communities, transforming plastic waste into practical and beautiful upcycled products, left an indelible impression on us. We realized that this was a remarkable opportunity to join forces and actively contribute to mitigating the plastic pollution crisis while reducing our own environmental footprint.
With this strategic partnership, our facility emphasizes its commitment to sustainable practices and environmental stewardship. This collaboration highlights the power of upcycling and serves as a call to action for a more sustainable future.
So that was an initiative, kind of like a sustainability initiative for World Environmental Day with Flying Tree. So you heard the name just now there, and they would incorporate like any kind of plastic, every kind of plastic, and make those plastic lumber for which they make benches. And they very much into the circular economy. They would have been assisted by IDB and these corporations through those kind of initiatives. But that's good, but also see where from the corporation side, they still need to mainstream it even within their corporation. So hence you see those upcycling bins that they have, right? So they're trying to make sure this thing is continuous, apart from just the tree benches and the table, but they're trying to make it more. So there is room, there's growth, and again, how do you commercialize and be bigger? All right, enough of me talking. All right, just that example. Let's go on to the next one.
Welcome to Fundamentals of Climate Smart Entrepreneurship. This course will provide entrepreneurs with recommendations for planning, implementing, and running sustainable climate-smart businesses. Those businesses responsibly manage natural resources, reduce their negative contributions to the climate crisis, respect indigenous lands and ways of life, and are profitable. This lesson is Entrepreneurship in the Green Economy. In this lesson, we will define the green economy. We will also review key questions entrepreneurs should consider as they look to create climate-smart green businesses. This lesson was written by Stephanie Benedetto, the CEO and co-founder of Queen of Rawle, an enterprise solution for intelligent excess inventory management. She is also a founding member of the New York Circular City Initiative, where she advocates for sustainability and women in business. According to the World Bank, a green economy means that natural resources, including oceans, land, and forests, are sustainably managed and conserved to improve livelihoods and ensure food security. The basic principles of entrepreneurship are as applicable to climate-smart businesses as they are to most enterprises. Paying attention to things like product design, innovation, technology, management, employees, customers, and the marketplace are true no matter your business. But entrepreneurship in the green economy also requires a commitment to sustainable resource management, environmental conservation, creating jobs, contributing to long-term growth, and reliable, readily available data to prove that businesses are meeting their goals of operating in a climate-friendly way. What are best practices for creating scalable, resilient green businesses? Benedetto believes that the most powerful businesses will be built by entrepreneurs who focus on three key areas in their day-to-day operations: people, planet, and profit. A lot of businesses are trying hard to become more sustainable by working on solutions that benefit people and our planet. But it's equally important to address the underlying business model of a solution in a way that makes a business profitable. Businesses must answer to stakeholders and investors as well as customers, so it's vital that entrepreneurs get the economics right. With everything going on in the world right now, it's easy to automatically assume that adopting sustainable solutions is going to be cost prohibitive to your bottom line. The good news is that by focusing, for example, on a business's waste, you can resell that waste to make some money and free up costly warehouse space. In doing so, you also get a better sustainability story to tell your end consumers that should improve your top-line sales. One of Benedetto's enterprise customers saw 3 times the customer conversion rate in their online direct-to-consumer business just by talking about the good work they were doing with waste and sustainability initiatives. Another challenge to the green economy is that it's not seen as scalable. Benedetto started Queen of Raw as a marketplace so individuals and businesses could buy and sell their unused textiles. But that's just slapping a Band-Aid on the problem and giving people a place to sell waste. The thinking was, you have waste, go sell it on Queen of Raw. But as a green business trying to solve the problem, how do we get to the root of the problem and figure out why they have all this waste in the first place? That's an opportunity where we leverage tools like machine learning and blockchain to provide integrity to the data we capture for businesses and to help them intelligently minimize waste streams going forward. Building massively powerful, scalable, and sustainable supply chains depends upon it. What can governments and civil society do to promote green entrepreneurship? Governments and civil society are necessary contributors to developing policies and practices needed to foster green entrepreneurship. But some of the strongest actions we can take to combat climate change happen at the individual and local level. We can inspire, educate, and raise awareness about how everyday consumer behavior affects people and the planet. When individuals lead these efforts at the local level, it builds trustworthiness within the community. One of the most valuable things Benedetto has noted she's done at Queen of Raw is to foster strong collaborations and partnerships. She works with the United Nations and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, among others, to make it easier for communities to adopt their sustainable innovations. Through the New York Circular City Initiative, Benedetto and her team created a white paper with H&M, Unilever, Cisco, Goldman Sachs, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and the New York City government, showing how many good jobs would be created and how much could be saved and made if the city went circular in the coming years. This created strong trustworthiness in what we are doing, she says. How do potential employees learn green job skills? Supporting green entrepreneurs who are creating sustainable solutions requires local support from government, foundations and academic institutions, and multinational corporations. People must be able to access adequate educational infrastructure and professional opportunities locally. How do green entrepreneurs ensure transparency and ethical business practices in their operations? Benedetto thinks it's critical for businesses to capture the right data, analyze it, and act on it, allowing businesses to stand by their actions. But it's equally important that they share that confidence publicly. Too often, businesses are doing great things but not talking about them. They're afraid of being too bold or getting in trouble with customers or the press, especially if their sustainability initiatives turn out to have been based on faulty information. But thanks to integrity-driven technology that collects data and ensures that it is stored and protected to prevent manipulation, these companies can garner comprehensive records and proof of actions taken. Because of these exact records and proof, Queen of Raw has proven it has saved over 1 billion gallons of water globally while saving our enterprise customers millions of dollars in the process, says Benedetto. Never doubt that the actions you take can make a big difference and change the world. Young entrepreneurs have the opportunity to create solutions to the climate crisis and create new businesses to benefit communities. This ensures that we can not only survive today, but truly thrive tomorrow. For more on this course and to access related resources, visit our website.
All right, Ryan, do you have anything to say about that? And any questions? If you have one, raise your hand or type it in the chat.
Shem, thanks for that. This was also a really great video highlighting some of the key features of a green business and a green economy. But I want to broaden what the video is saying to speak to the audience here, right? Because in this video series, they're following a CEO and a founder, Stephanie, who does a business that is, driven very, very strongly in a direction of reducing waste and then providing benefit to society, right? And the three characteristics of a business for it to be considered green would be for it to be reducing pollution, being more efficient with its resources, and providing social benefit or society benefit. So I don't want anyone who might be here, because I see we have a range of people in all sorts of businesses, from social media management to cleaning and consultancies, to feel like you can't be a green business as well, just because you're not involved in agriculture or recycling directly, right? As long as you make a decision to find ways to reduce the waste that comes out of your business process, or you decide on how to use more efficient, environmentally friendly inputs into your business, and you think about how your business can benefit and support the local communities that you operate in, you are green, right, in some way. So whether it's deep green, like a recycling company, or a lighter shade of green because you're not involved in a direct environmental project, but you're choosing the most ethical suppliers for the input. So you're trying to recycle or have your waste go into a different value stream. These things are also important. So I don't want anyone in this conversation to feel like this topic doesn't apply to them or that they're left out. But there are a lot of things that can be done here. And I'll pause there and welcome any more questions and conversation.
Any questions, guys? That's a good feedback there, Ryan. Because I too into video photography, and I want to know what I want to be a social entrepreneur too. How could I be better, So thanks for that encouragement. No questions. You're going on to the next video.
Hi guys. Sorry, I wasn't seeing the raise hand icon. My name is Nadine Kamabach. My business is Moody. We offer sustainable period products to the market. this video really spoke to me because there's a part that mentioned that quite often as green businesses, we feel that we aren't fully green, or that the basis of what we're offering may be disproven at a later date. So we kind of keep the work that we're doing to ourselves. For me, that totally echoes my experience. Another part that, well, my question to you, Masasu, as a sustainable business as well, you know, we're going up in the markets against bigger titans, right? In the industry, and quite often government policy may be encouraging the non-sustainable options. How can we, as sustainable companies and smaller entities, rally or advocate for our positions without looking as though we're just doing it for profit? Because for my business, single-use plastic period products, which is pads and tampons, they're not recyclable like plastic bottles, right? So they remain in the landfills, clogging the landfills. And right now we have a problem with landfills. All our landfills are over capacity. But the conversation right now is removing tax on all period products, which would make all period products cheap and would still encourage use of plastic period products, right? Single-use plastic period products. But if the conversation changed to probably reducing the taxes more on sustainable period products than non-sustainable, that would be a step in the right direction in encouraging or changing behavior within the wider market. How do we go about advocating for that? That was my question. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was kind of long-winded there.
No problem, Ms. Cumberbatch. And I mean, that's really great. It sounds like your company is doing something really innovative and very cool. I want to say that on the direct role of advocacy, right? There are, I would say, there direct and indirect approaches to advocacy, right? And there are direct ways in which you can raise an issue and lobby for it. Sometimes you think about like pickets and posts, like protesting and that kind of thing. I don't think that is the approach that you'd want to take.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
No, of course, yeah. So I would say that for a business, the best ways to advocate for any sort of political change or change in taxes, there are two forms, right? The first is through collective voice, and for a business, that would mean being part of a chamber of some kind. So we have several chambers operating in Trinidad. We have the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. We have AmCham, which is also affiliated with the U.S. Embassy as well. But by being a chamber member, you are part of a group community that brings together opinions that the chamber presents to the government and the Minister of Finance formally when it comes to budget, when it comes to all of these types of discussions. So there's a formal way of being there. As a micro entrepreneur and a small business, it might be a little bit intimidating to be part of a chamber because they come with fees. However, I just wanted to make a plug that most of the business chambers, so AmCham, TCCIC, and others, they do have special rates for small businesses, micro businesses that sometimes they waive membership fees for the first couple of years, or they give you a very, very subsidized rate, like $1,000 for the year or something. So it allows you to be part of that conversation, to access the opportunity, the resources they have, but also let your voice be heard in terms of things to advocate for. The second way to advocate for these types of changes directly would be when the window of consultations are open for for certain things in that, and I say that, and that sounds vague, but like, for example, from time to time, when like when we had to revise the national environmental policy, for example, we would have had public consultations that allows for these types of sustainably minded opinions and thoughts to be brought to the fore. And I just want to make a reference to when we were doing the consultations in 2017. We went to communities and across the country, and we said, hey, what are some sustainability issues or topics that you think are important that needs to be elevated to the government level and into these policies? And then most of the things that the government, at the time I was an agent of the government, didn't think of, a lot of people brought up. So, for example, right now we have policies on light pollution and waste from festivals. Those are all things that people brought to these conversations that the government wasn't considering previously. So those are the two main ways I would think you, as a business owner, as a small business owner, you'd want to advocate for policy change. And that's to answer your question directly. But I also want to have a different response to your question, which is to say that the government is, in my view, right, they take a very cautious approach with transition. And they usually want to have a phased approach in which things change so that it's not too disruptive, I guess, right? Which means then that I don't see it likely that they would remove taxes for non-plastic products and keep it on there in such a draft. Like, that's a little bit too much of a sharp change for the way that they like to do things. So what I would say then is that for your personal business, if you have to compete with now cheaper plastic products, and that is part of the challenge with plastic pollution, right? It's cheap and ubiquitous, right? I would say that it has to come down to at the business level, perhaps zeroing in on a niche, right? And then marketing in a certain way, really focusing on yourself, less so on the ecosystem and what the government is doing, but really focusing on that sort of niche. So like, just personal reference, a lot of my loved ones that I live with and I have, women in my life, they also use cloth pads and recyclable pads, very pretty, very useful. But it's not for everyone, right? We have the ability and the means to wash and use and reuse these things. We are also in a situation in Trinidad where we still have a lot of period poverty, where there are a lot of young women in Trinidad that don't have access to the products, and the cheap plastic products may be, maybe helpful to try to bring those who don't have any access to these sanitary products there as well. And it has to have like a sort of balance. So from a business perspective, it's really, honing in on your niche, trying to figure out where you could get that value add and reach your customer base that way.
Yeah, another thing with the plastic products is convenience. So for us, our products are reusable.
Yeah.
So there's an upfront cost compared. So the upfront cost, is higher than the monthly outputs.
Yeah.
And it's convenience.
Yeah.
Lovely. On one point on Ryan's first comment in terms of feeding policy or feeding back to the government, we are in converse with some members in Hamtram, and they did ask us, hey, what kind of input you'd like to see into the budget, because they're preparing their recommendations. So we, the Ehub, is like a micro chamber for entrepreneurs. We understand that entrepreneurs may not want to give out that $1,000 to join a chamber. Although join a chamber is your very next step. Eventually, you will have to graduate from us and be part of your local chamber, right, to improve the economy. But whilst not doing that, as a group here, we come together and say, hey, I want to see these kind of changes, right? Shiva, want to say your hand up?
Yes, so I just wanted to, with regards to the sanitary napkins and the issue, one probably suggestion, it's in terms of how do you categorize your waste. So if you categorize your waste under the context of biomedical, then if you want to impact policy, you go to the entity or the ministry that has jurisdiction over medical, biomedical waste. And in this case, it will be the Ministry of Health. With that, you then can merge with or reach out to some of these contractors that deals with the state's biomedical waste, and one in particular is Tech. These are just suggestions as a small business trying to work your way up to influence policy. And you can't just go like a straight shooter. You have to take some different curves. So with Sanitech normally, biomedical waste is not treated under the Trinidad and Tobago Solid Waste Management Company. Don't get me wrong, it
So
does
it's
end
not
up there.
in
It does
municipal,
end up
yeah.
there. That's right. It does end up there in the general waste stream because we do not have national waste separation. And however, that raises a lot of health issues because of the salvagers coming in contact with that highly infectious type of waste. So what the government would do is that they would merge with private contractors like Sanitech and Rentokil and these people who will then empty or take care of these biomedical waste in the form of incineration. So in that regard, there might be two entities to which your small business can send a letter to introducing yourself, what you're doing, and therefore show the value proposition of your business in attending to treating a waste issue, and by extension, that can lead to environmental health, sustainability, as well as the growth of your business. And they can then, with you, sort of influence policy on the health aspect and consider. I'm not sure about the tax. I'm not sure about the removing or reducing the taxes, but maybe by showing your commitment to environmental preservation, truly sustainable or responsible, producer responsibility approach to your waste, they could probably consider that. That's just a suggestion.
Lovely, lovely, Siobhan. Taking away, work with enterprise level clients. This is consistent with the video, as well as leverage relationships you have with them to influence it. Mahalia, see your hand up.
Hi, morning. So Mahalia Joseph from Tribalamanda Enterprise Limited, and one of our products would be sustainable food such as herbs and spices. But we are also recently launching a new product where we use recycled material to make a battery that is work with solar and it's based on it's food on dirt, right? In cases like these, certain new techs like technology and stuff like that needs particular ISOs. And speaking with the Bureau of Standards, apparently we are unable to certify certain new techs coming in because they don't really have a category for them. In a case like that, what do we do to be able to get our product, properly certified locally other than on the international market? Because I mean, international, that's a different sets of standards and processes, but locally, what do we do in an aspect like that?
Mahalia, could you clarify for me? So when you what are you trying to certify? Your products, your spice products, or the technology for it?
The technology that we develop.
I see. Okay. And when you say certify, do you mean like protect it, like patents and like have it protected as your technology because you developed it, or certified as in like recognized as green?
Certified as in, okay, so there's ISO standards when you have a technology that you use like a microwave, you have ISO certification for the use of it, how it's supposed to be properly used when it comes to like ISO 9001 and stuff like that. So apparently locally, like for new technology that is developed, if it's not under the old technology designs, it's kind of hard, especially when it's recycled material being used and recycled and stuff. It's kind of hard to certify that.
Yeah. I mean, so you're right. I mean, you've spoken to the right people, which is the Bureau of Standards, right? So the TCBS, and then they are the ones with the jurisdiction for national level standards. So they have standards for everything from how to label things to go in the grocery to how to wire your house. So if it is that the TTBS is telling you that they don't have any specific applicable standard nationally for the technology you developed, I feel like that's sort of the end of the conversation there, short of doing an international standard, right? Or having an international standard for your technology. But if you've developed your own unique technology, I mean, I think that is something that's quite interesting. And we'd love to hear more about it offline in a different context to see how we can make sure it's properly protected and recognized for being what it is.
Definitely.
Great.
Let's go to the third video.
There has never been a better or more important time to direct energy, creative problem solving, and innovation toward our world's lakes, rivers, and one big shared ocean. With over 3 billion people dependent on marine and coastal biodiversity for their livelihood, developing a sustainable blue economy that protects the economic, security, and environmental benefits of our waterways is key. Welcome to Fundamentals of Climate Smart Entrepreneurship. This course will provide entrepreneurs with recommendations for planning, implementing, and running sustainable climate smart businesses. Those businesses responsibly manage natural resources, reduce their negative contributions to the climate crisis, respect indigenous lands and ways of life, and are profitable. This lesson is Entrepreneurship in the Blue Economy. In this lesson, we will define the blue economy. We will examine why the blue economy is important to preserving the planet and its creatures in the near and long term. We will also review how basic entrepreneurship applies to blue businesses. This is all with the aim of mitigating the climate crisis. This lesson was written by Rachel Zoe Miller, the founder of Rosalia Project for a Clean Ocean. She is an expedition scientist, inventor, National Geographic Explorer, Explorers Club Fellow, and co-inventor of the Cora Ball, the world's first microfiber catching laundry ball. Rachel leads teams on expeditions whose scientific results are published in peer-reviewed journals. She captains the American Promise, a 60-foot sailing research vessel. She has certified hundreds of people to be sailing instructors and mentors young scientists at the New York Harbor School. Her academic background is in marine studies and underwater archaeology. According to the World Bank, the blue economy is the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improved livelihoods, and jobs while preserving the health of ocean ecosystems. Talking about the blue economy as its own category, separate from other focus areas, is timely and urgent if we are to preserve this planet and its creatures in the near and long term. Radical interdisciplinarity. To start, it is best to always think about our public waterways and our ocean as systems. Systems are complex and require a breadth of expertise. So for those who are interested in the blue economy but lack specific knowledge about the ocean, do not let that stop you. Your skills and creativity can be matched with people who are specific marine aquatic experts while you bring your big ideas, innovation, and new perspectives to the table. Miller and her team had been working on the problem of marine debris through their non-governmental organization, Rosalia Project for a Clean Ocean, for 2 years when they learned about the problem of microfiber pollution, when our clothes and other textiles break into microscopic bits of fiber that end up in the environment, including our waterways. This problem didn't just speak to the team at the Rosalia Project, it screamed at them, and they knew they had to address it. At that point, Miller and her team set 3 goals: to contribute to the, at the time, scant scientific knowledge about the problem, to come up with a solution, and to spread the word to make sure as many people from as many professional backgrounds and industries learned about microfiber pollution so they could apply their skills and knowledge to finding a solution. They developed the Cora Ball. The Cora Ball is placed into washing machines to entangle microfibers. It reduces the amount of fiber that breaks off of our clothes, helping clothes to last longer, and protecting our lakes, rivers, and ocean. Miller has given hundreds of presentations, podcast interviews, and more in order to spread the word. The group had incredible support for the initial research and development on the Coral Ball in the form of a grant from Schmidt Marine Technology Partners. The most important enabling technology for the product development was 3D printing, which allowed for faster iteration. Once they were ready with their minimum viable product to take to the next level, they created a separate company to preserve the nonprofit status of the Rosalia project. They did a Kickstarter campaign for molds and a first production run. The campaign went 3,500% above goal. Thanks to their backers, they made 15,000 Coral Balls right out of the gate, which set them up to launch online sales the next year. They've been selling through their own site and with retail partners worldwide for 5 years, giving a percentage of gross sales back to the Rosalia project every quarter. One of the biggest takeaways Miller has from the experience of bringing the Coral Ball to market is that the final product details took far longer to figure out than expected. Another big takeaway was how critically important the relationships they have with suppliers throughout their supply chain are to the success of the product and the company. Their experience at Coral Ball and the Rosalia project has been that using what the Massachusetts Institute of Technology calls radical interdisciplinarity sets the foundation for creating scalable, resilient blue businesses, says Miller. This means embracing diversity, engaging with people from a wide swath of professional and academic disciplines, people from different generations, upbringings, different community structures, and from all over the world. This is something to remember when thinking about entering the blue economy. While in the big picture, it is about solving problems related to our public waterways and the ocean, in its parts, the skills needed are the same skills used to solve any other complex problem. Engineering, chemistry, math, design, strategy, messaging, interacting with governmental regulations and policy, and so much more. Some things to ask yourself as you develop a business in the blue economy are the same as an entrepreneur for any other business. What is the necessary environment to promote the development of your business? How do you raise funding for a blue business? What skills are necessary and how do you recruit employees for your blue business? And what are best practices for creating scalable, resilient blue businesses? Feedback and failure. The front end of any project, whether that is inventing a new thing, starting a new business, or taking on a new role, always requires iteration. That means doing something, assessing performance, making adjustments, and doing it again. There are two key elements to this process. One is recognizing that in this context, failure is just another term for iteration. So be prepared for your ideas to fail and embrace the opportunity to learn from those attempts. And the other is that proper feedback is golden. One of the most valuable people you can have on your team or as an advisor is someone you trust who, along with you and your team, can observe, assess, and give specific and constructive feedback. This is how you learn and how you move forward with anything new. People, planet, profit. For the blue economy to achieve its goals of protecting our precious waterways, all of the stakeholders, including inventors, executives, customers, investors, activists, and governments, must make decisions with a focus on people, planet, and profit, in that order. This mindset sets up businesses that treat employees fairly, pay attention to their own footprint from product design to packaging to fulfillment, and also pay attention to the numbers. We need blue businesses to thrive, which means there must be profit. Profit just can't be the only criterion for making decisions. The ocean and the lakes and rivers that feed it need you. The challenges are many, but change is possible. Young people worldwide are bringing their considerable intelligence and creativity to these problems, and there is more and more training, advisory, and financial support. The opportunities are there. It is just a matter of diving in. For more on this course and to access related resources, visit our website.
All right, guys, that was amazing. I learned a couple of stuff there. But please, Ryan, is this practical for Trinidad? Is that good advice?
Yeah, I mean, it's great advice. I think it started off as talking about the blue economy in general, and it got very specific into some deep entrepreneurship content there about, the iterative process, how to have trustworthy advisors. I mean, there's a lot of things there that are very applicable to us as business people, as micro entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. And in terms of blue economy, they use a World Bank definition there. But I think the blue economy, there are two aspects of the blue economy that also need to be considered and broadened a little bit. The first is that the blue economy is not limited only to the oceans. It also includes what we call our freshwater resources. So if it's because our freshwater systems connect to the oceans ultimately, right? So if it is that you're doing something and it enhances the quality of, say, the rivers or the waterway, in this example, the coral ball, it stops microplastics from going from your house into waterways that eventually get to the ocean. So I don't want anyone to be limited in their thoughts about the blue economy and think, well, I don't work with Sargassum or the beach or the ocean, so I'm not part of the blue economy, or I can't contribute to the blue sector, I guess, right? This particular presenter, is working in with clothes, right? Washing clothes and removing microplastics. So, and they're still part of that blue economy. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that in the Caribbean, it's super important in the Caribbean. You may have heard us be referred to as small island developing states because we are small islands, right? The Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, she's very fond of flipping that term on its head and calling us big ocean states, right? Because even though we have small islands, our territory includes a lot of ocean. In fact, in Trinidad's case, we have our borders, our boundaries of our territory. There's 11 times more water than land, right? So because of that, I mean, almost everything we do is in the blue economy. If we look at our integrated coastal zone management policy for the country, 90% of Trinidad's land area is considered to be in the coastal zone, right? And that's because we're so small and we're so closely tied to the oceans, or everything that we do affects the freshwater and it affects the oceans. So most of us might be blue entrepreneurs and don't even know that already, just by existing in Trinidad and Tobago and operating here. So I'll take a pause there. I know that Shan is here as well. Shan, I don't know if you want to take a moment to introduce yourself, but I know you have a lot of experience with bringing a product to market and with waste management especially.
Hi, Ryan. Good morning, everyone. Well, I am both product and service, but predominantly a service-driven business. So depending on the product that you are considering bringing to market, for me, I have books, children's books, activity books. I have an online course that can be thought of as both a product and a service when you think about it. But so my path would be a little different than somebody else who is making plastic tiles or making another product from materials that are considered to be whether they are using raw material or they're using recycled product. The hardest, I think the most challenging, I don't like to use the word hard, the most challenging thing is one, identifying who your customers will be, and two, finding the right markets to be able to sell your products and ply your trade. So there may be a lot of factors that you have to, because if we were traditional, and I use it in my air quotes, businesses, the path is slightly different. There are a lot of support mechanisms for regular standard products because that has been tested, tried, proven for many, many years. The recycled product space is still considered relatively new. And so there's a lot of education about your product that has to happen. Like, what is this product made of? The good thing is that consumers are changing. And so because they're becoming more aware of what is happening to the planet globally and so on, you have an opportunity to use that as your differentiator. So if you have the eco version of a traditional product, that to me augurs well for you. Because you can use that. You can use that in your marketing. Because one of the work, or at least some of the work that we're doing, is to help companies to realize that even if you are not considered fully sustainable, nothing is wrong with having a sustainable line or green line to your existing business, right? And I'm a part of organizations that are helping to support businesses through that phase as well, to get them to where they need to be. So product marketing for environmentally friendly products is slightly different. There's a lot of education of your product that you will have to do because people are used to what they know. Because you're coming into a new market and introducing yourself to customers, that is going to take some time. And I don't want to say, yeah, it'll happen like tomorrow. You know, you're good. It takes a while, and you have to understand that with any product, it takes a while for people to know, like, and trust you. And once they do, then it's not as much of a challenge for you to be able to sell. But you have to understand there's a huge education phase that you'll have to go through just to get people used to what your product is. And then once they're used to it, then you would find that the sales would come. Word of mouth is still a thing. It still works. There are things like a referral program where you tell people, okay, anybody who has bought from you, if you refer someone, you will get, they'll get a discount or whatever you want to offer them as an incentive. Or you can ask your customers. One of the things that I love is that you ask them for visible signs of their commitment. So if they buy from you, say, hey, you know, testimonials work. I use this product, whether it's text testimonial, video testimonials. I use this, it was great. And I would encourage you to buy it, because we're social beings. We like knowing, okay, if Ryan bought something and Ryan says that works, I am going to now check it out. It's on me to make the choice whether I want to buy it or not. But because it's coming from Ryan and I trust Ryan's opinion, right, then I would be more inclined to say, okay, let me go check this out. So the product, even though we have wonderful organizations who are bringing products out, I mean, I've heard them talk about the same challenges that they've had, you know, people not willing to buy it. And then you have to go through, because the principles in business don't change, whether you are climate-driven business or not. So now you have to go through your whole, okay, pricing strategy. Am I trying to price the same price as the traditional product? Do I want to charge less? Do I want to charge more? And what are your pros and cons for wanting to do that? So you're not just making a decision because you feel like that. Now, I should just charge $50. This just, you know, it has to be an informed decision. You have to consider the cost of goods sold. What does it cost you to make the product? Then determine what profit margin you want. So it's a full, so we're talking about entrepreneurship here, and nobody ain't doing this for thanks, right? We all trying to have a business from it. We all trying to earn an income from it. And so you have to pay attention to these things. The environmental sector is great. There's a lot of opportunity, but we also have a number of challenges as well. So, but there are programs now, some of which that I have been a part of that I plan on sharing when it's my official time to talk with you that you can be a part of. And there are a number of organizations for young people. So I always tell young people, I say, you know, take advantage of the opportunities, because when you're like me and you cross the 40 hurdle, things tend to get a little limited, right? So, and that's just the truth. So take advantage of these. So I'll share some of the opportunities for young people. One of them, Shem already shared with, is the Young Leaders of the Americas initiative. But there are other specifically focused initiatives for green entrepreneurs, climate-driven entrepreneurs in across the globe. So I will mention a few of those to you as well, if that's okay, Shem, because I like making sure people.
Shan, in your what are the organizations that you would offer you major assistance to where you've arrived at?
Oh, wow. I would say to be honest, I would say a lot of the assistance that I got only happened within the last 2 years or so. So Sile is going to be 9 years old next week Monday. Yes, because Tuesday is my wedding anniversary. So I try not to mix up the 2 dates, right? So next week Monday, Sile is going to be 9 years old. And within the last 2 years, from 2021, I would say, 2-3 years almost, has been the greatest level of support that I have received at Sile Environmental. So last year I participated in 2 programs at the same time. I'm a crazy lady over here. One was the Halcyon program, specifically for entrepreneurs in Latin America and the Caribbean. That is a program that has, and applications are actually open now. So you could check that out. They really gave us fantastic support. The goal of that program too is to become investment ready. So I don't know if Ryan touched on that, because that was one of the points that I wanted to talk about in terms of becoming investment ready, because there are a number of venture capital, so VCs, angel investors, grant funders who want to support your business, but you have to make sure that you're ready for that support and what that looks like. So that was the real core of that program. And then the SOCAP entrepreneurial program, which is a global program. It's 40 of us from across the world. There are thousands of applications. They also support social entrepreneurs in the climate space, in the climate, health, education. So they have a few categories. I think it's 6. I don't remember them all right now, but climate is one of them. And that's how I was able to get into the program. Both programs, I was the first Caribbean representative in both programs. Then you have things like Youth Business Trinidad and Tobago, who is associated with Youth Business International, that actually just opened a cohort for young entrepreneurs in the climate space. You get to travel. They support you in terms of, they ask you like, what areas do you need support? And they support you through that. So through YBTT, the Youth Business International has programs specifically for climate-driven entrepreneurs. So for me, everyone, and Shem, because Shem asked me the question, you know, I say that to say, sometimes the journey doesn't look like what you expect it to, but it doesn't mean that you can't get the help that you are looking for. So I had to firstly get to a place where I was okay with asking for help and putting that out openly. And then the help started to come in different ways. So that's just a couple of the initiatives that I have been a part of. And it only happened within the last few years. So the first 6 years of Sile, I was practically on my own, so it has been a challenge, but a good one to go through. And now I'm here to have the ability to share those things with you.
Thank you, Shan.
But lots more questions as we go along, so that's okay.
You touch on some really important things that I just want to identify and agree upon, which is it takes a realization in entrepreneur to say, okay, am I investment ready? There are lots of people that want to help entrepreneurs, right? When apart from what Chan mentioned, there's Kariri, there's Netco, there's Export TT, there's CDB has a arm called CTCS, right? IDB wants to support entrepreneurs. AmCham had something for entrepreneurs. Digital transformation industrial something for entrepreneurs. Almost a lot to help. At the same time, when it comes to entrepreneurs and they say, hey, let me see your accounts, right? Then that's a different challenge in producing accounting or a team that says, okay, this is somebody worth investing in. The banks will tell you the same thing. That is what we have seen from the Ehub's perspective. So hence we have to bridge the gap. As a hub, we need to bridge the gap, make sure we are investment ready, and make sure we are aware of all these opportunities. Siobhan,
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to add to Shem is that a lot of us think that if we are in debt, we can't receive investment, which that is a myth. That is not the truth. There are investors who would be willing to take on your debt, clear it for you, and still support the business. So because you may not be in a position of awareness about that, because I was there too. I was like, well, they only want to support you if your business doing good. You know, they're not going to support you if you owe people and things. Like, who does that? But that's not the truth. There are investors who would be willing to, once they love what you do and you are coachable and you are open and you are willing to learn, having been surrounded by investors who have raised billions of dollars for entrepreneurs, those are the things the investors tell me. You know, Shan, you're coachable, you're willing to learn. Those are the things that we like about you. We have to, because they invest in you first. Then they decide, okay, is there something that I can get a return on investment on? How long would, and then they work out the maths behind the investment. But I say that to say, there are investors who, if you are in debt or you owe, who would still be willing to take that on for you. Do not think that that's a reason why you won't get investment. There are investors who will do that for you.
Thanks. All right, I seen some hands up. Great, Siobhan, you already have.
Thanks, Shem. I'm just going back to Brian's point that he made with regards to the definition that they use on the blue economy. I totally agree with it. Because right now in Trinidad and Tobago, when we talk about, I always say you cannot have water without wastewater and vice versa. And a lot of our rivers and streams belong to WASA, and some of them serve as intake storage units for supplying our national water system. And with that, it's almost, if that be the case, and having said that, I think that as entrepreneurs or persons in business producing a product, I think everyone contributes to the blue economy where that is concerned. So I just wanted to add to that point, that's with what he made there.
Thank you. Let's see, Ryan, I see your hand up.
Thanks, Shem. I wanted to bounce off of something Shan said when it comes to being investment ready, right? And I guess also wearing the hat of someone affiliated with the US Embassy, I need to make a plug for the resources that are also provided by the US government to people in Trinidad and Tobago as well. Apart from the myriad of incubators and accelerators that you mentioned, Sham, because you mentioned all of them, you know, Netco, Chikariri, all of them have an incubator and that development pipeline process for entrepreneurs. We recognize within the region that getting what we call bankable projects, so investment-worthy entrepreneurs, is a challenge in the region. You know, I think about it as a problem triangle that we have. You know, on one part of it, it's where do we have funding available to entrepreneurs? That's part of one peak of the triangle. And next part is, do we have the legislative frameworks and the laws and stuff in place to I see someone's coloring on your board there, Shab. Do we have the legislation in place to enable and support the type of work that entrepreneurs are getting into? And we spoke about that a little bit briefly earlier on today. And then the third part is, well, okay, assuming that we do have the right laws to help people get certified and encourage and to get it done, and assuming that money exists and is available, whether it's at Anson Merchant Bank through the National Capital Hub or IDB or otherwise, are there businesses that are that are led by founders, as Shan mentioned, that are coachable and passionate and driven? But do they also have the business fundamentals to make them investable? With that being said, we have a program that is being rolled out, I guess, across the Caribbean, including in Trinidad and Tobago. This is called the Caribbean Climate Investment Program, or the CCIP. Now, the CCIP was a broad program. It was announced in Trinidad in last year, September, by Ambassador Bond. And it focuses on businesses that are in the areas of energy efficiency, renewable energy, or climate change adaptation. That third category, climate change adaptation, is very broad, right? And I mean, that could apply to many things. What constitutes adaptation is a wide range of things. It could be direct things like developing new systems to stop erosion, things to like restore the environment, things to help capture carbon emissions from the atmosphere. Things like that might also include things like recycling and upcycling and the circular economy concepts. All of those things fall within that climate adaptation category, right? But most importantly, what was recently launched a few months ago as well is our project preparation facility under the CCIP or the PPF. And this is being implemented, I know there's a lot of acronyms, there's the US government. This is being implemented by a group called PFAN. I'm going to post a link in the chat here for you all. And so PFAN is implementing our project preparation facility. And what that means is that entrepreneurs and businesses in Trinidad and Tobago who have a good product or a good idea, right, but might not necessarily have all of the business fundamentals that make them investment ready, right? You apply to the PFAN and say, hey, listen, we would like to go through the PFAN journey, right, under the Caribbean Climate Investment Program, and they will screen you. And if they think that you as an individual and your business have the potential, they might not have all the right parts yet, but if you have the potential, they take you through a multi-month journey at no cost to you. This is paid for by the US government. They're through USAID, right? At no cost to you. They take you through a journey. They put a business mentor with you. They help you close the gaps, develop, your elevator pitch. So a lot of us like to talk, especially in the green and blue space. We talk about the environmental benefits. They teach you how to talk in terms of return on investment, ROI, how to talk like an investor. And eventually, at the end of that PFAN journey, they present you to investors and lenders to get that direct investment into your business. So this is a resource that is available to Trinidad and Tobago businesses, as well as Caribbean businesses. If you have people beyond Trinidad and Tobago, I mean, it's open to over 13 countries in the Caribbean region. So I strongly encourage all of you, if you're interested, check out the PFAN website, see if your business can fit into these sort of categories there, schedule our office hours talk with the PFAN team, tell them that and go from there, because I mean, it's literally free support to make you investment ready that is just available here for us. So that's my plug and my pitch on that topic, and I'm happy to pass over to the next person, chat. Sham, you can tell me who's next. And you're muted. I can't hear you.
Thank you. All right. Yes, I see Medina hand is up. I see Madina and I see Nadine Cumberbatch. Whoever unmutes first.
Hi. Yeah. So I have a three-part question. The first two are for Cheyenne. Cheyenne, you didn't really explain what exactly does your company do. I don't know if I missed it. That's the first question. And well, you can answer that and then I'll ask the other one.
Okay, no problem. Nadine, I ain't even get a chance to introduce myself yet, you know. Shema and Ryan just asked me questions. You understand? So everybody's benefit, and thanks for asking the question. So I am the founder and CEO of Sile Environmental Services Limited. Sile Environmental is a social enterprise that specializes in waste management, education, and consultancy. So we have what we call our three buckets, in addition to being a consultant, educator, and trainer, and being the author of a children's book called Kai's Magical Adventures, Where the Garbage Goes. It was really impinged on my daughter asking, you know, Mommy, what happens to the things after I throw them away? Like, where does the truck go? Because the truck going somewhere. So I just, and with children asking many questions about that, because I do a lot of school talks and stuff, I just decided to put it together in a story that they can keep and take with them, and now has an accompanying coloring and activity book. So Sile's work, as I said, is in three buckets. So we have our waste education and literacy program for children and youth, of which the children's book is at the core of that. So we run programs for children in waste management, teaching them 6 different tenets, from littering all the way to becoming a conscious consumer and what that means. Then our second bucket is that we do waste education courses and training programs. So we have our flagship program called Home Composting for Tropical Climates, which is now available online and is self-paced on our own learning management platform, which we only got this year. And but we also provide in-person training to corporate entities, to SMEs, to nonprofit organizations around waste-related issues, and like plastics recovery training and organic waste management training. So that's bucket 2. And then bucket 3 is our consultancy, primarily focused on food waste management and behavior change work. So for us, food waste is a broad issue, and we want hotels, restaurants, SMEs in the food and beverage space to look at it that way, to realize that it is not just about composting. Composting is just one part of the bigger food waste picture. And so for us, our service is what we call our ecosystem of services, from the education to helping them set up more efficient food management systems, to measuring, monitoring, and evaluation, to connecting them with vetted providers by us that they can take their materials to, or helping them work through the development of another product from their waste material. So those are the 3 different buckets that we operate in at Sile Environmental. So right, so Nadine, that was question 1. Go ahead, shoot, question 2.
Well, just a second part to question 1. If you have a Facebook page or anything like that, can you put it in chat?
Sure, yes, I am everywhere. So I will put it in the chat for you all, no problem. The question?
This is the second question.
Okay.
How do you spell the programs that you're speaking of? The Halcyon and the SOCA?
So Halcyon is HAL as in lamp, CYON as in Nancy. And the SOCA program is SOCAP. SOCAP. SOCA program and the Halcyon program. As I said, the Halcyon program for climate resilience entrepreneurs is open for applications now. So that's something that you guys can look at as well. With, I would say, the caveat is for all of these programs, they do have their eligibility criteria. So once you meet that eligibility criteria, you can apply. But then you also have programs like Wildlife, like the youth business through YBTT, the youth business international programs that also take you from startup level. So you're just getting started kind of thing, and you can get support through that as well. And those are, as I said, those are global programs. Then you have YBTTs also with I am a facilitator for their program, specifically targeted for supporting entrepreneurs in the social and green space. So we launched a toolkit last year with different questions specific to climate resilience and so on, and the SDGs, and making sure the work that you're doing is tied to the SDGs. Because when you're talking about global investment, they want to know that your work is tied to these fundamental goals that exist. So to make sure that you are linked to those, how do you finance yourself? What are the financing options that are available? I spoke about investment, but there are grants. Grants come in multiple forms. You have non-reimbursable grants. You have matching grants where they ask you to put up a certain percentage of the money that you're asking for. You have, and in investment, you have the equity one, which is the Shark Tank one that we all know. And we have our local version, planting seeds. You have that kind of investment as equity investment, where they take a percentage of your company. But there are other ones like revenue-based financing and all of these things that I had no clue of, that because of these programs, I'm now aware of. And the fact that you have an exit strategy, so you're not tied to the investor forever and forever, amen. You have an exit date. So it's either when you have, they've gotten return on their investment, then you leave the relationship. And that's a part of it. Because I used to think, so well, when they give me money, it's just forever. But no, it's not actually. So you develop an exit strategy as you go along. So those are, I would encourage you guys to look at the different kinds of investment, the different kinds of funding that are available to you. For those just starting out, grants is always the way to go, because you're not quite ready to be able to have to repay any organization just yet, because you're just starting out. So there's the IDB Lab that provides, so they have the Blue Tech for Waste Challenge that's on a rolling basis. And then there are other organizations that you can get that can support you through your business as you learn and you grow. Shem shared some of them already. But there are others, because once I started to go down the rabbit hole of, I put it out, I asked God, I put it into the universe, I am ready and looking for funding. Then all of a sudden the funding things started. I started to see them all over the place. And then some of these programs, especially the international ones, give you money when you're a part of it, right? And then the other form of financing is competitions. That's another one. So there are competitions that you could enter for youth businesses in climate work, global competitions, not just local ones, that giving you US dollars, right? So 10,000 US, 50,000 US. I mean, yes, it's a competition, so you know that you're going up against people. But I have colleagues that have used that strategy like really well. And they've been able to win competitions. If they didn't win, at least they came within the top 3. So they were able to use that money to feed back into their business. I am not a fan of competitions. I find it a little bit, that's just my personal opinion, guys. I'm not saying that for you. I am just not a personal fan of competitions, but I have done some of them. And so now I'm like, okay, let me look for programs where I don't feel like there's this pressure on me to win, So I'm now looking for programs that provide mentorship, that provide guidance, that provide resources. And if you could give me a little money too, I'm happy about that. Right? So those are the kind of things that I look for. But again, every program has its own eligibility criteria. And so you have to meet that criteria in order to be a part of those programs. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you kind of indirectly answered the third question. I was just going to say, As a woman and mother and entrepreneur, just
Yes.
myself,
Mhm.
I find some of the programs are a little bit ageist, especially considering the fact that for women entrepreneurs and looking at the participation rate here for this session, the majority of entrepreneurs that reach out for support are women. And that's what I found. And that's what I found consistent in whatever session that I see out there that pertains to me. But when it comes to funding support, the money tends to go to either large companies that they term as SMEs, or young people, and they're leaving out a whole wide market segments by how they structure the funding offers.
Sean, do you agree with that?
Yes and no. So let me say the yes first. Yes, because as she said, I am a female founder. I'm also a wife and a mom of 3. So it goes back to my point of, if you are between 18 and 35, please take the opportunities. Please take them.
Yeah.
Because once you cross the options are limited. And that is just the fact. I plain talk, bad manners, that's just the fact, right? So I am officially, I can tell her the age. So I am 42 years old. I just turned 42 a couple of months ago, right? So for me, now I have to look for those programs that are non-age specific, that are just for female founders, that are open globally, so not just Caribbean based. Yes, Ryan, 42 years young. And my last name is young, so my husband is always say a young clever. I remember somebody wanted to nominate me for a youth award at time. And they were like, so yeah, so tell your wife, send me her information. And my husband was like, you can't nominate her. You know? And she said, no, because she crossed 35 long time. So now I just have to do the youth mentor category for 35 plus, of which I'm very proud.
And the thing is, women tend to go into business later on than because wait until after our children get a little older.
Correct. I started SIA late. I didn't start young. I mean, and there is no, I always say too that you're never starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. So all of your experiences that you've had that led you to this point to start your business are enough for you. You can start at, and people, I don't know if you see the videos where they talk about Colonel Saunders from KFC, and they talk about, you know, all these other people who started. One of my favorite actors is Morgan Freeman. He started acting in his 50s, right? So he got a good 20 plus solid years of doing excellent work, you know? So there is no age limit for when you start. So I don't want you to limit yourself to your age. What you would now have to do is within yourself say, okay, I am ready. I'm looking for funding. Where can I find this funding? So you're looking for programs that are open to women. You're looking for programs that are open to women in the Caribbean region, and because there are global programs that will support you no matter where you are in the world, as long as you're a female founder. And they are, so what I will do is that I could, and Shem, if this is okay, if it's okay to provide information after, I could look to see what are, so there's an initiative called the Cartier Women's Initiative, which is open to women from all over the world. And it's a fantastic program. I've known women.
I have my eye on that.
Oh yes, oh yeah, don't just have your eye, have everything on it. It's a fantastic program. I applied a couple of times, I didn't get through, but hey, no just means next opportunity, right? So we are going, so look at that program. And normally once you start looking, they will send you like a source. I don't know, like Google is strange in that way. It's crazy. They'll start sending you similar programs like Cartier, or there's another program that I love called Echoing Green, right? Echoing Green. They are also, and they're for startups as well. Global program. So those are two that I could say off the top of my head that you could look at, right? Echoing Green, Cartier Women's Initiative. There are, what I could do, that's what I was going to ask him, if it's okay for me to do a little.
It's for us to collate them and we send it
Yeah,
to.
so I could send them for you after. Let me do a little dive on the ones that I have applied for. I've actually applied for those, so both of those. I just did, so what I will also say, Nadine, what you could do is assess the kind of support that you need, because there are some programs that will give you the support that you need. So Ryan talked about PFAN, right? So where you having, where your bottlenecks? You know, is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it bringing in new clients, you know, developing lead magnets? Where are the issues that you're having? Because there are some programs that will specifically help you with those issues, right? The good thing about the Halton and SOCA program is that you get to meet the facilitators who teach you all of those things I just mentioned, and you have the opportunity to chat with them thereafter. So there's, and they specifically work with climate social entrepreneurs, specifically, right? So you get very pointed support based on what you're doing, because they're aware of the issues and they know exactly how to help you navigate those issues, right? So I would encourage you to think of where are you having challenges. You don't have to answer me right now. It's just food for thought for you, pun intended, right? Think of where you're having issues, because that's what I started to do. And then I started to, these communities are wonderful because everybody always sharing something that they hear about somewhere, programs that I've never heard about. As long as I see the word global, I was like, okay, let me check you out. And then I will look at the criteria to say, well, all right, well, now, well, they're too old, or they're not covering waste, or they, you know, so then I start to take things out. But sometimes, because my husband is telling me, sometimes you need to be a little bold-faced. I still apply, even though I don't meet all the criteria, and wait for them to say no, right? Because sometimes you just have to be brave and bold like that, right? So but now, because I'm in this stage, we're 9 years old, sometimes I used to say I'm in the uncomfortable middle. So I'm not startup, but I'm not scale just yet. And so as I'm in the middle between the two, what kind of support do I need to move me to scale? So like I'm working with Export TT now because we want to export our services, right? So how can I export my products? How can I export my services? Export TT that is why they were founded, to help people be able to export. So now I'm working with them more directly to get that kind of support. In 2021, I think 2022, we got a grant from them, a R&D grant, but they have different levels of grant support. So guys, you could check that out as well. To conduct, so that's where our whole food waste journey started. So we got a grant to do R&D in food waste. So now we're moving on to phase 2 of that program, which is launching of the seeds itself. What's that, Shem?
What's the grant?
I'm not hearing it just now. Hold on, huh?
How much was the grant?
The grant, I think they give you up to 150,000 in the R&D. That they pay directly to, so they would pay 80% or between 70 to 80%. All you don't hold me to that, you could go on their website, the information is there. They pay 70 to 80% of that. So you put the rest and they pay the grant directly to the supplier. So the money doesn't come to you, it goes directly to whomever you engage. So now we're fitting into phase 2 of that. So I've already started talking to the officer to say, all right, I'm ready for phase 2. You know, let me know what else I need to do. Because you don't have to, not because I got phase 1 means I must get phase 2, which is very clear on their website as well.
Okay.
And then there's a phase 3, which is export readiness, right? So there are local organizations that provide you with support as well. But often I'm telling you about the international ones, so that's just my story and that's part of my journey, that I've gotten a lot of help internationally before I even got help locally, right? So that's just my truths there about that. So that's why I shared those things with you. So I see Medina hand raised. Sorry, I tend to
Yes, thank you.
Minutes.
Hi.
The last 5 minutes, guys, we have to devote to the
I
quiz.
can't ask my question. Don't ask the question.
After your talk,
Wow.
you'll talk too much, write it to the chat and we see if we get it, right? But this part is really important. To finish up. And we have to maintain our 11 o'clock. I'm really trying. I've Ryan till 11. So let's go through this. All right. So guys, yes, you went through this here. You could put the answers in the chat. All right. Businesses and consumers have been conditioned to think that adopting sustainable practices is cost prohibitive. Is this true or false? Guessing a true, 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 true. All right, they're going. Profit is as important a consideration as people and the planet when starting and running a climate smart business. True or false?
True.
True, true, good stuff. True, true, true. Nice. In a true circular economy, waste is not produced because materials are, is it recycled, reused, remanufactured, or refurbished, or all of the above? Dina says all of the above. Nicole, all of the above. Denise, all of the above. Ryan, same. Okay, okay. This refers to products that are not selling and are no longer in production, but remain in inventory. This material, instead of being wasted, presents an opportunity for entrepreneurs. What material? Is that stockpile, dead stock, supplies, or backlog?
Dead stock.
All right, again, dead stock. Okay, okay, okay. All right, just remember, if you get any wrong, it's a reflection on you guys, not me. In a green economy, natural resources, including oceans, land, and forests, are sustainably managed and conserved to improve livelihoods and ensure food security. True or false? True, true, okay, okay. As long as they are doing good, green entrepreneurs don't need to operate in a way that makes their business profitable. So they don't have to think about getting the economics right. True or false? All right, resounding false. Okay, nice, nice. Good stuff. Rebecca, yes, false. Okay. Technology tools like machine learning and blockchain provide to data capture for businesses to help them intelligently minimize waste streams. Which is the answer, guys? Provide what? What do they provide? Is it measurements? Is it actions? Is it integrity? Or is it information? Seem like you're not so certain. I've seen some people say information. Not sure. I put the information because you all say information, eh? All right. But we'll see. You must remember this one. Right? It's critical for businesses to capture the right data, analyze it, and action on it, allowing businesses to stand by their actions. But it's not necessary to share that data with the public. Is that true or false? True. Okay. From Sita. True or false? True. Okay, let's go with it true. Worldwide, over how many billion people are dependent on marine and coastal biodiversity for their livelihood? Is it 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, or 4 billion? That's a tough one. All right, again, at 4 billion. All right, you can see. 2, okay. Suffice 4, 2. All right. The blue economy refers to the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improve livelihoods and jobs while preserving the health of ocean ecosystems. True or false? True. All right, the blue economy refers to the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improve livelihoods and jobs while preserving the health of ocean ecosystems. Did I see that true? This concept refers to engaging with people from a wide swath of professional and academic disciplines, different generations, upbringings, different community structures, and from all over the world. Is it cultural diversity, economic diversity, geographic diversity, or diverse diversity? Which one is that, guys? Anyone are seeing no suggestions? Are the questions too hard, guys? This concept refers to engaging with people from a wide swath of professional and academic disciplines, different generations, upbringings, different community structures, and from all over the world. All right, somebody saying diverse. I mean, it can't be just geographic. Can't be just economic. Diverse. I see two for diverse. All right. Very good. Diverse. All right, going to diverse. Your relationships with these throughout the supply chain are critically important to the success of your product and your company. Relationship with suppliers, distributors, engineers, or customers. Which one? Customers. I see one. Is a guess. Let's see who says suppliers. Who says distributors? All of the above. Suppliers. Suppliers. I says 2-2. Customers. All right. Denise says suppliers. All right. Okay. Customer. See, more people say customers. Like good customers. Through the supply chain. Customers through the supply chain. What you're saying? All right, guys, just remember this is a reflection on you guys. All right. All right. Let's see. What does it say? All right. 4 failed Guys, 5 failed at, oh no, sorry. 3 of your answers are incorrect. Let's see. Okay, this one is good, suppliers. All right, diversity, yes, that's a tough one. Blue economy, all right. All right, worldwide. So it's not 4. I know what if it's not 4, what it is.
1.
1, all right.
1. Based on the fact that if we really look at how the world is, we say the world has 7 billion people. Not everybody, we divide it into 4 sectors. Yeah, I would say 4 for maybe land-based, but 1 for water-based.
All right, so we say 1. Maria said 1. What about 3? Sassy, you said 3. All right. Rasha said 3. So yeah, 2. So 2 people for 3. Denise saying 2. Oh boy. All right. So right now 3 as the winning. I want the numbers. Okay. All right. 3, right? All right. We'll see if you get it wrong. You have 4 attempts, guys. 4 more attempts. All right, this one is not true, so it's false. So that means it is not necessary to share that data with the public. All right. So wait. We said true. That means it is necessary. Okay. Okay.
Based on that question, my thoughts regarding that was, it depends on what kind of data you're searching for and how necessary or how fundamental it would be for the public to find out. If it is to boost your business, that you're doing more recyclable things and you're doing more environmental things, and this works, sure. But if it is when you do your checks, you realize you're at fault for something, you would want to improve first before the public know that, because then you could bust your
For
business.
operational efficiency, we don't really need to share that.
May I offer perspective to you all on that as well, please? So, and this is Shan speaking, right? The reason why it is necessary to share, no, they're not asking you to share your intimate data, right? Data gives you information. What you're sharing is the information that the data provides to you. So if you, through your let's say you're making I'll just use an example, right? So let's just say you are making a product from plastic material. And in making that product, you use 1,000 plastic bottles to make that product, right? Now, things that can go into that is where the plastic bottles coming from. Did they have covers or not? Did you have to delabel them? Did you have to turn it into flakes? All of that will be your data. But what you're sharing with the public is the fact that we have diverted 1,000 bottles from the landfill to make this product. You all understand the difference between the two things? So that is what they are asking you to share. They're not asking you to share your intimate numbers, but they're asking you to share the outcome or the information that you are getting from the data that you are gathering based on the product that you are making or the service that you're providing. So I share that I've impacted the lives over 10,000 lives through our waste education work. How I did that? Book sales, interviews, training sessions. So I can get down to the nitty-gritty if I want to, but it's okay to say that 10,000 people's lives have been changed as a result of our work. Or I've been able to, this is where impact measurement comes in, and in impact measurement, then you get to relay that information. Or I say, through my work in food and organic waste, I've been able to divert 3 metric tons of food waste away from the landfill. So that is what they expect you to be able to share with the public. It gives you transparency. It gives you accountability. It sets you apart from anybody else who would be doing the same work as you, because you're open, you're sharing, you're saying how important the work that, I'm sure y'all see videos where they talk about, some of my colleagues in this space, she has a book bag that is solar powered. She has been able to give that book bag to 12,000 girls in Uganda. So that's the information that she shares. She's not sharing how much, you know, like the cloth or the solar panels or information or data regards to those things. But she's sharing about how many girls was able to get this bag to power so that they can do their homework at night, so that they in the bag also has sanitary products in it as well, so they no longer are part of period poverty. So those kind of things. So I just wanted to offer a different perspective for you all to think about when it comes to sharing your information with the public.
Thanks, Shan.
Welcome,
Alright.
Shem.
So you're going to 7 there. Technology tools like machine learning and blockchain provide what to data capture for businesses to help them intelligently minimize waste streams. It's not information. What is it? I seen an integrity, seen an action, integrity, integrity. All right. Very good. Let's see. You have 4 attempts. Hey, good job, guys. Good job. All right. So as you see, lovely, lovely stuff. You can have access to this, and you can go in and fill in your stuff here. And get your certificate if you wish. You can also always email us at hello@ehubtt.org. Right? If you have any questions, more like information, right?
So would you all be filling out these certificates and sending it to us, or we have to personally do that?
Wait, go and do it yourself. You're going to do it yourself. Go and do all. All right. You have all these to do. All these to do. All right. Cool. All right. So now that's the official end of our session. All right. If there are any questions, you are no longer forced to stay here. Right? Prep your questions. Ryan, have any feedback you want to say? And Shan, any closing?
No, before closing remarks, Shem, I just wanted to ask you if you wanted to get like for your records, a photo with everyone, the camera on for a minute, just take a screenshot. I don't know if we still do that or we don't, but just want to throw that out there before everyone scatters and leaves. What are your thoughts?
Sure. Everybody, y'all up for it? Come, let me see your cameras. Let me see your faces.
They say the host has disabled it. You cannot start video because the host is disabled.
Let me stop sharing. Nice. Can you do it now? All right, I seen Dana. Oh, look at people. Yes.
I don't know how to do it.
Yes, and indeed, as you all say, it's all females. All females, just all these sessions we do, 80% or more are female entrepreneurs taking the world by storm. That make sure the programs are carded towards you guys, like Shereesa Hub. And you'll go check out. All right. Ooh, and more people on this side. Okay. Smile.
I can't get mine on. I don't know how. Hello?
Yeah.
Do you see me? I don't know what to do.
Medina.
Medina.
In the bottom left corner of your screen, are you seeing where your mic is? Are you seeing our video? There you go.
Got it.
Abigail, Cindy, Trisha, Nyla.
All right, let's get everybody here, man.
All right, big smiles on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, I took it in, guys. I took it in.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, one more, and before we leave, Medina have a question to ask. Otherwise, it's really,
Yes.
good. Ryan, one thing before you leave? Sean, one closing word, and then we're taking questions. Ryan, go ahead.
Sure. Well, I mean, I just want to say thank you for having me, Shem. I'm really impressed with the amount of people that turned up for a session like this. It tells me that the Ehub is a vibrant community, and there are a lot of people very interested in the work and the support and the resources it takes to take your businesses seriously and to get things done. The U.S. government, USAID in Trinidad and Tobago is very committed. Ambassador Pond is very committed to female entrepreneurship. So you can expect a lot more support from the embassy and from USAID. Please check out PFAN to see if you all can become investment ready through our existing mechanisms, and there'll be more mechanisms to come. But I want to say thank you very much for having me this morning. I shared my LinkedIn earlier. Please feel free to connect with me, or if you want to connect via phone or email, you just ask Shem or Vasha, and I'll be happy to connect with you all, give you all any more additional support as needed. But thank you very much for having me. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Most welcome. Thank you for being here, and Sean, one last closing word.
Thanks, Shem. I don't know if Medina's question was for me or Ryan. So I said I'll stick around for a little 5 minutes just in case anybody else has any additional questions they want to ask. But in this two things, I know it's number one, I'll try to be quick. Two things is this journey is not for the faint of heart. You are going to meet obstacles, challenges, but always remember why you chose this field and why this work is important to you. So on those days when it gets tough, because trust me, it will, you'll remember why this work is important and why you need to continue to show up and be authentically yourself. And the last thing is my favorite quote, which is I call my life's mantra that applies to everything for me, is that it is not always about doing things better, but sometimes we simply need to do better things. So what are the better things in your life that you can be doing, and continue to do those? Yeah, and I'll just stay on for a couple more minutes just for people to ask questions, and then I'll go.
Thank you. Make sure you join our WhatsApp group. All right, our WhatsApp group. So you have a community, you get updates about all these things. You send the links, send all the pictures, send everything right there in the chat. Vasha, if you could send that WhatsApp link if possible. I don't know how easy it is. Or an email. I know entrepreneurs don't check the email so much, so you definitely try and join our WhatsApp group to not miss these sessions. Medina.
Right. So my question was for Ms. Cheyenne. Thank you very much.
No problem.
One. Okay. So she says she doesn't participate in the competitions. But in terms of taking your business and getting the support outside, are you is IPO registered in terms of you have a to make sure nobody can steal your idea and your concept? Because for me, that's one of the biggest problems that I have in my mind about expanding my business, is that recently, as in very recently, as in going through TIC just a couple of days ago, seeing and witnessing somebody coming to me 2 years ago, asking me questions about my business, asking me things about how I do things, and then seeing that because they had the finances, take it and bring it to life in a bigger aspect because they could, shamefully, it hurt me much less, and that has been a fear, and now to see that has realized itself. What do you do now with a business like yours where you're expanding it to impact the world globally, but at the same time, ensuring that somebody cannot invest and take it and give it to another Tom, Dick, or Harry outside who have more money, who could take it from 1 to 50 million, you know what I mean? So that was part A of the question.
I like that how all your questions to me that have parts, but okay, so firstly, I completely understand what you're saying, Medina, because it has also happened to me. But not in the sense of somebody taking my ideas, but reaching out to me as an expert in this space, and then using the information that they've gathered from me to put into public tenders, requests for proposals, and then, and then asking me to apply, right? For the same things that they came to me to ask for information for that they didn't even know was possible before the conversation with me, right? So that has been my experience. I think Sham and I even had a conversation around that, and like, Shan, how do you prevent that from happening to you all the time? So I have put certain measures in place to prevent that from happening to me. So one is you're not going to get my time for free anymore. I had to institute that. So I now have a consultation fee. My husband would be so very proud that I'm saying these words because it took me a long while to get here. Because if you are still not going to choose me at the end of the day to be the consultant, to be the expert that you're going to hire, at least I'm compensated for my time. So that's one. Two, especially for my books, I personally did the poor man's copyright. You all have heard about that before? Where you send it to yourself. No, that's real. You're not opening the envelope until
Yes,
a
never
situation
open it.
happens. You don't open it, you send it to yourself via registered mail. I sent my entire story to myself. I sent, we even did, my husband and I host the largest barber and beauty event as well. So the idea for the event, we did the same thing. You have it there for years, you're not opening it unless an issue comes up that you cannot talk to the person directly. So if it had to go to court, you have your proof that this was my idea created such and such date and such time. I have also been in talks with the Intellectual Property Office to write the IP office to be able to protect, because a lot of what I do, the majority of what I do comes from in here. It's my knowledge, it's my experiences, and how I roll out my services is an amalgamation of all of that. And so so I'm talking to them about what's the best way. So one of the things that have come up so far in speaking with an IP lawyer is having licenses for my content. So as I put the content out, it is protected by this license. If you wish to use the content, so if so one of the things we'll be delving really into, I told you all about, is the food waste, right? So if we're going to be talking about that, and I have content on my learning management platform, and you want to use that for your class or whatever you want, or your staff or whatever it is you want to use it for, then you have to buy a license from me. And it's a non-exclusive license, meaning it's not you alone isn't going to use it. If you alone want to use it, you have to pay me through your nose hole. You see what I'm saying? All right. But anyhow, so that's another way that I am looking at protecting myself, is to get a license. It's taken me a little bit to kind of figure out the details of it, but that's something that my IP lawyer suggests as the next step. So I did the 4 months copyright. She told me about getting licensed for my content. And if there's anything else, so you could go to like a commission of affidavits and do a statutory declaration as well. So you could say this content was created by me on so and so date and so time, and that is admissible in court. You're not going to pay as much. You might pay what, $200-300, but it is another way of put. So that is the step right after poor man's copyright, is a statutory declaration. And then you have things like licenses and full-on certificates, and take it to the full gamut, because what I do is intellectual. It is in my brain. So you have to protect yourself, and you have to have very strict contracts, Medina. So anybody that you want to do business with, you have to make sure that your contracts are tight, because they will give you a contract that protects them, but you have to make sure that you are protected. I have walked away from thousands of US$ because they wanted because the contract was all about them and not about me. So I wouldn't even have access to the work that I was creating under that contract. That would have been theirs. And an IP lawyer said, Shan, you can give away your economic rights, but you should never give away your moral rights. Your moral rights are the fact that you created the content. You want to be able to use this content to generate more business for yourself. So you can give it away economically because they're paying you, but you should never let them tell you that you can't use the content ever again, or you have to get their permission to use the content that, you understand? So there are levels to the thing. you just have to, and because I'm a service-oriented business, that's the direction that I have to go down. When you're thinking products, things might vary a little different for you. But those are some of the information that I have been exposed to that I'm sharing with you all for in terms of protecting yourself, because it's a very, very real thing. It hurts like that. When that whole situation happened to me, I cried for 3 days straight. So it's really, it could be really challenging, but you have to put things in place for yourself moving forward. So that was part A. So what's part B?
Part B, in terms of having to deal with potential, let's see what I want to use. So you said first they mentor you and they make sure that you are ready to do the business, right? So they build you up and they make you ready to face the world. But in terms of your product, do they in any way ask you to change your ingredients, ask you to restructure it, ask you to do it more? Like, for example, I went to a particular agency in Trinidad and I was showing them, you know, since I was a baby, my grandmother used to give us this, right? And this heals this entire disease. Promise. I have been feeding it to people, not like a bushman. I'm not a Trevor Sayers, but I've been giving it to people and I've been seeing the changes. I've been seeing growth in certain parts of their, whatever the problem is, right? And it works, and I bottle it and I have it bottled. Look, I did a whole thing here and I have like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years, like different levels and stages of this product and how long the shelf life is and this. And I went to an agency, it's like, okay, I'll like test this now. And let me just bring this out there. I think this could change the whole world because we're sure it's secure. We're using it from baby. It is edible. It is physical. It is everything. And then I say, you can't make that into something else.
Okay. So, Shem, by the way, if you want us to see a screen, we're seeing it. If you don't want us to see a screen, I just let you know, right? Right.
IP after the answer person.
Right. Yeah. So, and then, oh gosh, last thing about the IP. So, guys, the IP office is open to anybody. You can call, you can set up an appointment to talk to. They cannot give you legal advice. They tell you that very strongly, but they can give you suggestions, right? So you can call them and find out, let them know what your concern is, and they will actually tell you what is the best next step. So I just wanted to say that. So, right, Medina, the other part of your question is now so you asked me a two-pronged thing there, and I want to make sure I'm getting it from you clearly.
Asking it to change it. You remember you said you had a keyword before, right? Your keyword was you are workable, you are mentorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that. Does that mean you're manipulatable in terms of, well, we need this like that?
Right. Now I understand. Good. So no, they at no point in time have asked me to do anything different to what I came to them for. What I keep my mind open to is if they're giving me suggestions that can make it better. It is never a, well, Shan, don't do that again situation. It has never been that. Because these and this is just conversations. I have not accepted any investment yet, but in conversations with investors, because I've had the opportunity to talk to some of them one-on-one, that's not what I got from them. If you like my business and you like me, then you like me as I am, as I came to you. What I keep myself open to is if they say, okay, Shan, have you thought about adding this dimension to it? Because it's the same thing. It's like, okay, I had my product in a dark colored bottle. I just using a random example, right, guys? I had my product in a dark colored bottle, and they tell me, Shanuel, you know, if you put it in a lighter color, it would be better because people can actually see the color of the liquid on the inside. It's the same product. They're not asking me to change anything. They're not asking me to stop doing what I'm doing. They're just offering suggestions to make it better. And the investors come to you with their own level of expertise. So are they great at distribution? Are they great at marketing? Are they great at sales? Because that's what you're taking them on for, to help you with those things, to help you get into the big box stores if that's what you want to do, to help you get into, you know, other markets, because these people are well connected, but I've never spoken to one, and that's why you have to date your investor. And when I say that, I mean, you have to do your research on them too. You have to see what are because that's why when we talked about making the information public, they have to share who they've invested in. So you could now find that person, talk to them and ask them, hey, when you went to them ever ask you to stop doing what you're doing or to change it in a really like significant way? You know, so you have to date your investor. You have to have conversations with them. You have to see if you're matching in terms of values. You're not just taking the money because all money is not good money. Hello. Okay. So you have to, right? So you have to, it's not about Medina. It's not about, you see, when people want you to significantly change who you are, then that's not the best place or that's not the best organization to go to. If you want to tell me how I could make it better, cool. I go take that. But if you want, because people have told me, Sean, what you're doing will never work. Nobody is interested in hearing about waste management. Look at the state of the country. You really think anybody gonna pay you to do what you're doing? I have heard it all. But the fact that I'm still here 9 years later means that I ignore the naysayers and I continue to do what I knew in my gut and in my heart and in my spirit. And with God's intervention, that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Those people just don't understand. That's all right, because the gift was given to me, not to them. Them ain't go get it. So for me, it is, I have never been asked to be changed in that drastic way. I have come as myself. I even say, look, if you don't like me as I am, that's fine. You know, I go find somebody else who like me just so, right? Because I have real energy and thing, and I like to talk. So if you're not, I'm not going to let you change who I am too. Because I've spent so many years trying to fit into this box that I thought I needed to be in. Now that I am really walking in who I am, who is Shan, I really not, and because I'm older, I don't have time. I simply don't have the time. So I hope that answers your question. I think that whoever asks you to do that is not for you. If they are giving you advice to make your product better, that's different. But to say to somebody, don't do that again, I think from my perspective and my experiences, I don't think that's the best person to do business with. Right? But if you're giving me advice on how to make it better, sure, we could talk. I could share more about it. We could, you know, if I need to take it to Kariri to be sampled, I could do all of that. But for you to just say, nah, don't do that, I've never, outside of the naysayers that I've been exposed to, I've never met an organization to tell me, nah, Shan, you can't do that again, you know. You can't do that.
Well, basically, what they told me is, don't use it as an oil. Let me make it into a soap instead now. And I was like,
but that could be
soap. The soap is no, but the soap is a product.
Right.
For external, you have the one product is something you use something even baby. And it works 100%. Like, I don't even know if it was, because we were trying to discuss if it was legal to technically experiment using it.
No, you can't.
It's not cannabis. It's not cannabis. It's not cannabis. It's not cannabis. But make that clear, it's not cannabis, but it's something that grows your hair for alopecia people, and it cleans your skin for eczema, and it works 100%. It's old school bush medicine. And I figured out how to bottle it, preserve it, and get it to people who really need the help. Because I used to like really suffer from eczema bad, and look at my hands. I healed myself first. If you could see my hands, I healed myself first, and then I started giving it to others and showing them how. And I you know, so now after figuring out how my environment was working for me, it becomes a profitable thing. But anyways, that was all.
Breathe, Medina, breathe. But yes, what I would also suggest is, so have you heard of Dijonesse before?
Yes.
It's a soap care line, right? So Chanel started that because her sister struggled with eczema, right? And I think she would actually, because it's in the same kind of bracket, but you're doing oil and she have soap, I think it would be good for you to talk to her.
It's both.
Right,
it's actually both.
Right. So you could talk to her
because you could consume the product, you could have it as a tea. Especially for
Right.
the elder folk, I would have it as a tea because after a certain age, the elder folk, after 45, 50, they start to get, you know, the pigmentation, eczema thing just popping out in the skin, looking like liver spots.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it works because I've been giving it to people for more than 6 years and I've been seeing the progress. And it's just, we don't have like a real FDA here, and I'm afraid to
No.
send it abroad because as soon as it will come like my book on Lulu, I wrote a whole book in 2009. One day it was wonderful, and the next day it went missing. It was pulled and ripped and, you know, probably remanufactured. And that is what I'm afraid of with this particular product.
So we also do have the food and drug. That's our FDA, the Food and Drug Division.
That's under Kariri, that backlog right now?
No, it's ministry. It's under the ministry. Ministry
Okay.
of, you can just type it in Google, our Food and Drug Administration, or Food and Drug Division, I think is what we call it. But as I say, yeah, talk to Chanel. She never give me a kind of, you know, standoffish kind of vibe.
Oh yeah, I know her. She's good. She's good. We are artisans
Yeah,
together.
so ask her, like, how was she able to navigate that? Because you have topical. Topical could be oil, soaps, anything for the outside of the skin. You have people who've been able to create things that people ingest, but that has to go through the Food and Drug Administration because they're putting it into your body, and they have to give the go ahead for that. So
Do you do that NDAs to apply?
Right. What's that?
Do you have to use NDAs to apply? Like,
I don't know.
to ensure that people don't take your data, information. That is what that is the stalling in my business. Like, I have a fear.
Well, then as I said, do the poor man's copyright or do the statutory declaration, go to a commissioner of affidavits, right? And do it. And so you would be able to have, you'll have that information to protect yourself. But also, you know, I would suggest, because products are not my product is a book, right? Which is vastly different from what you're talking about. So I would suggest speaking to somebody like her who has brought that product to market and what she has been able to do, because I could only give you information that I have pulled from people like her, or information that I have been exposed to. Shem is also sharing right now something on the 23rd of July.
You can see my screen? Okay.
Right. For learn about copyright, trademarks, patents, industrial designs, trade secrets, because we all know Angostura is a trade secret, right? Nobody knows the formulation because, right? Geographical. So that would be a good session for you to, it's online and it's free. I mean, you can't beat free. You
can't beat free.
Right?
I was showing you a piece of the product, but Mr. Shem still at the screen. Like,
yes, I've seen it because I could see you. So let me let anybody else ask a question quickly, because I do have to jump off in like about 10 minutes. So Medina, thanks for the question.
Well, because of all the entrepreneurs here, there are two things that you ought to be aware of on the topic of IP, and both are in this month. One is free, one is expensive. The free one is the IPO coming to us, right? And that is through the Kuva Tabki Talpa Regional Corporation. It's online, 2 hours, 23rd. Right? In the WhatsApp chat, we'll share this with you guys, as well as the expensive one, not really necessarily catered to entrepreneurs, is at the UV St. Augustine, but we will be attending and we will share to represent the viewpoint of the entrepreneurs, and we'll share it with you guys out of it, right? So that is the two things on IP that you have to be aware of. If you're really, really keen on this, I would suggest that you come to this as well, right? Might have spent $1,200, but yeah, that's my 2 cents.
All right, thanks, Shem. Anybody else has any other questions before I jump off?
Shan, a quick question. Are your books in the public libraries? Is your book in the public libraries?
So that's a long answer. We're gonna try to keep it short. Normally what I do with the books is, if the public library approaches me, I tend to put a copy there. So like the Barataria Library has it, I think the St. John's Public Library has it. Well, anybody who is a first-time author, you have to lodge your book in NALIS. So I don't know if they've actually put it in the children's section. I don't know. Or if they just have it lodged as this is a first time author kind of thing because my book came out in 2020, in December of 2020. So it really depends on the library. So I try to donate at least one copy to the library so that the babies and they could go and read. Some of the libraries have invited me to come, and so that was my initiative to put the book there or to leave them with a copy. Is when I got asked to come and do a little reading and stuff with the kids, and we play games, and it's a whole thing, right? So that's how they've been there, but they're not in every single library across Trinidad and Tobago yet, not yet.
Oh, the reason I'm asking is just to put forward a suggestion why you don't approach NGC or Shell, one of those companies, to buy the books for the libraries, because I think those books would really benefit young children in Trinidad and Tobago. And given that a lot of these energy companies have little programs that promote sustainability, I think it's something that you would get someone to jump on to do.
I will take your suggestion. I'm not going to. My initial instinct when you asked me, I was like, I didn't have a good experience with some of them, so my inside started to do a little kind of crazy anxiety thing. But that's the truth. But I take it because BP works with children in Mayaro. I've actually visited a couple of schools there. That was a few years ago. Because I have a character that I play called the Trini Mother Earth. And I share that. I have some videos on my YouTube channel. I always never talk about my YouTube channel. So I have a podcast and a YouTube channel. The videos are there with me playing the Trini Mother Earth. And I mean, when I share it with the children, they walk away from the class telling everybody, why you so stinking dirty boy? Because that's one of the things I say in the video now. And Miss and them watch me with a little side eye. I say, sorry, miss, sorry. But yeah. The babies and them was just telling everybody that after. But yes, it's I'll write it down. I think it's a great idea. I think for me, that's a good strategy. In having these organizations buy like 100 copies and just donate it to schools, donate it to the schools they serve.
Yeah, not just the public libraries, there's school libraries as well. So it's something to look at.
Thank you very much for that suggestion. I am making a note of it right now.
In terms of 2 cents with respect to engaging corporations, in my next hat where we do some videography for the corporations, I would say yes, it's a good idea technically, but you almost like you don't have a relationship with them. But it's 2 ways it's happened. It's either those persons inside there and it comes down to an individual like the sustainability officer looks and says, oh, this is a great idea, I want this, right?
Yeah.
Then they look at you and to do it, and you'll see at the flying tree, the video example you shared. But if it is that you come into them, one is not necessarily on their agenda, right? So if it's that you have to come to them with something exactly on their particular agenda, and they already have a lot of initiatives that they already on their agenda. So your particular item had to be real good, better than what they're already doing. Right. So that is I would say that's a hard nut to crack. Right. So there's that my 2 cents there.
Yeah, and that has been my experience.
Approach multiple organizations. I think it would be good exposure for the company. 1 is local content. 2 is children, right? So it's schools, they're in schools, and 3, with the whole sustainability drive, then they're fostering the behavior in children in schools. So that's something that they would want out there.
Yeah. So
I'm just saying this is how you do it. I'll suggest.
Yeah.
The Corporate Energy Sustainability Conference, right? And within that conference, you'd have those people in the mind frame of, okay, what they're doing is sustainable. And 2 things they get away, which is you have an opportunity to share your book with them or share your product and to get the feedback 1 time. And as well, you see what's on their agenda. So on their agenda is really reducing carbon emissions. So if it is that something in your solution is for that, then that's great. Right now. So just keep that.
Yeah,
So like
I
if
mean,
you
I
book
think,
thoughts
it
about
went in,
reason.
I think it went in, there was the, did it pass already, Sham? Was it in June?
Yeah, it was just in June, yeah. Correct.
Yeah. In June I was in and out of the country. So, but I am connected to Dr. Driver. And so when next it comes around, I will make sure I put that in place for the next one, because they do it every year. Because I was there at the main energy conference, and I met him again, and I told him, I said, well, yeah, we have a few things on the agenda I need to talk to you about. But then I traveled in the month of June, so I missed it. And but I could definitely put it, because I have, as I say, it's about your network and it's about your connections and finding somebody who believes in the work that you're doing and could be a champion and say, yes, Shan, let's grab some copies of this to put in schools, you know, because you're talking about waste, and waste is a priority area for us. So it fits into, as you say, their agenda or their priority area. Because that's what it has to do. I can't just send it to anybody, airy fairy. It has to fit into what they're already doing, you know? So, but I said, I made a note of it. So Nadine, thanks for the suggestion. But I'll just keep it in mind for the next time. So I'll start the conversation from now so that next year when it rolls around, I write in the mix and I don't get left out. So it's a good opportunity to showcase the books and stuff like that. Because that fits into what they're actually talking about and discussing. All right, so I don't know if anybody has any questions. I shocked 22 all stay on this call.
It's amazing. Yeah, like, wow, you all really
That's what you all stay to hear this little girl here. You know, I appreciate each and every, because I'm not counting Chef and I'm not counting Pasha.
You
right?
like for the yellow thing?
Thanks, Shemian, for your patience.
So I appreciate it. I told him, I said, Shem, you have to have me. I told Vasha, I said, Vasha, all you have to have me on earlier so that I can ask you all the questions that you all have, because I know you're going to come at me with a set of questions, and I love questions. So, you know, Vasha said, Shan, next time I'll run you down. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you so very much. As I said, if you want to connect with me directly, you can do so on LinkedIn. Just look for my name. And if you want to follow us on social media, we're on Facebook and Instagram at SIELTT. S as in Sam, I as in ink, E as in echo, L as in lamp, TT for Trinidad and Tobago. So you can follow the work, you can see what we're doing. If you have any questions, you could feel free to reach out and ask. I love questions because questions bring clarity, right? So Shem is sharing all of the information there. So you could connect with me as well if you have any follow-up. I think I see somebody done connect with me a long time already. So I appreciate you, whoever that is, right? But you know, feel free to connect, feel free to ask your questions. That's fine. I have no challenges with answering them. I thank you. Thank you, Shem. Thank you, Vasha. Thank you to the Ehub for giving me this opportunity. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of week, and remember to do better things. All right. So take care, everybody. Bye.
Anybody else have any 2 cents they wanted to say? Any questions? You know, entrepreneurship is just a journey, and you need to answer the right question at the right time. I know some people might be a little quiet, afraid to ask a question, but that's what's gonna help you. All right. I also recognize Lionel Citron, who's also in the entrepreneurship space. Lionel is still there?
Good day, sir. I'm still here,
Yes.
listening intently to my colleague, Sayan. Most surprised with some of the new developments since the last I spoke with her. I think we had met at the inaugural meeting for the Bio-Waste Management Committee of Trinidad and Tobago last year. Since then, we have not connected at any other level. So I'm seeing she's evolving quite nicely. So I am very, 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 very much pleased with the critical mass that she's accumulating. And as I have been given a chance to speak, again, I want to throw out to the entrepreneurs who are here, Tropi Multi Limited, through our 15-year journey in the green entrepreneurship landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. We have encountered some growing pains along the way, some of which included bankruptcy and other I would say, challenges that allowed us to come out as a phoenix out of the fire. And out of that, we have two sensitizing lecture programs that we offer free to Trinidad and Tobago. One is a lecture that sensitizes on the vital importance of a positive mindset, whether in business, whether in life, whether in relationships. A positive mindset is the genesis by which you move forward. You live intentionally from the inside out. You do not live as a victim, just reacting to whatever circumstances in life throw at you. So that is available to everybody on here. Once we get a critical mass of people, we can do such a lecture online, or if you have a venue you want us to come to. Also, a second thing that we found out through our entrepreneurial journey, most of the entrepreneurs, there is no demarcation between themselves and their brand. They are their brand is them, whether it's a product or a service. And in every single sphere of science, I'm in science, communication, whether it's numbers or linguistics, you get your message out by communication. Communication is a very important factor in selling your product or service. So we also offer another lecture on the power of effective communication. We say, let's connect at the heart level, not just communicate or make noise. So those are two offers we would like to throw out. I put the information in the chat. My contact information is there. If anybody's interested, they can reach out to us and we can move forward in that respect. So again, excellent program this morning. Shemion, you guys are doing some excellent work. I'm taking note of all the work happening down with Dr. Kadir and they're down the road in Vancouver as well. Fantastic work. So I must applaud you guys on what is happening. We are also launching a new initiative, Link Up, where we are going to be soon having a digital marketplace where those who are using waste as feedstock, they can just come to our app and they can place an order, like you place an order for your niceties on Amazon, and we will have ground transfer of your waste to you. Because what has happened with Tropimalt since inception, we have had the large industries out there, the waste generators have been offering all their wood waste. And when we began to assimilate those, either to ourselves or to our competitors, they began offering us other wastes, their inorganic waste, their plastics and such. And we have been able to find homes for such on an analog level, informal and voluntary level. So what we're doing now, we're moving to the next step to scale that up. So we have most of the large players within Trinidad and Tobago are offering us their waste, and we are looking for homes for those waste. We have some homes already between the Bio Waste Management Committee, and I don't know how many people on board here today are using waste as feedstock. Perhaps they can get back to me and let me know what they have, or send an email address to me. I'll send a questionnaire to them to capture some data, and we can move forward from there. So again, applause and kudos to everyone on board here. Ehub and to my good colleague Cheyenne. Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other 2 cents, guys? All right, well, it was a pleasure having you. I keep in touch. We having a volunteer and membership meeting on Wednesday. Just to keep you abreast of all the little things that we've been doing, and also upcoming ways so which you could be more involved in the hub. And that's it for me, guys. See you guys
the volunteer meeting is online or?
Of course. Eventually in-person thing, but online for now.
Okay, how and where can we access the link?
Join the WhatsApp group and we're gonna share that Zoom link for you guys. It's a community, right?
Yeah, I'm already in it.
That's what we said, right? So will send all this stuff, and there's lots of good work, lots of opportunity, guys, lots of opportunity. So just to discuss how we're gonna take the next steps forward. All right, guys, bye.